This video is going to be on good habits. We've just gotten through talking about how to get rid of bad habits and sinful habits and addictions that maybe we've been struggling with, but what do you replace it with? And this is where we come to the good habits. I believe if you can fill your life with good habits, it will change the direction of your life, and it will also have a natural way of crowding out those bad habits that you might have acquired through the years. So when we talk about good habits, what are we talking about? And really we're talking about the very basics. First and foremost, we're talking about becoming more godly. We're talking about not only becoming a Christian, but then living the Christian life. There's a lot of people who are Christian in name only. They have maybe at some point made a commitment to Christ. Perhaps they've even followed God's plan of salvation in doing so. Maybe they were saved at one point or another, but they're not living the life, and therefore they're kind of having a subpar existence. So it's these good habits in life that if we can acquire, that will really make our life enjoyable, not just for ourselves, but for those who are around us. So here's some suggestions. And the first one is this: acquire a habit when you get up in the morning of getting yourself in contact with God and thinking about God. I would recommend before you even take a step out of your bed that you just have a quick prayer to God, thanking Him for the day and asking for His help as you go through the day. And then as you get up, maybe read a real quick passage from the Scripture. You don't have to do your regular Bible study at this point or Bible reading at this point unless this is the best time for you. But just reading a few verses or maybe a chapter in the Psalms, something like that will help you to get your mind focused upon that which is really important. I've mentioned before, I really like starting my day by reading a psalm. There's 150 of them. And then I added to that a number of years ago, once I was through with the 150 psalms, where I'd start reading one of the Proverbs each day. And so between the two of those, in half a year, you can read through the entire book of Psalms and Proverbs. And within those books, you have really positive input from God, communication from God as how to live your life the best you can. And I believe that gives you a great start for the day. This is a tremendous habit to get into, and so I would really recommend that. And then another habit is just making sure that you're worshiping with the church on a regular basis. For sure, on the first day of every week, get up and go to the worship. If you can go to Bible study, if you have that, by all means, go to the Bible study, the Sunday school. Make sure your kids are there as well. And then stay for the worship. We're commanded on the first day of the week to break bread. It's talking about getting together and remembering the Lord's sacrifice, His death, His burial, and His resurrection. And He gave us emblems to remember that with: unleavened bread and the fruit of the vine. And by partaking of these each and every first day of the week, they have a way of kind of resetting our lives. At the very beginning of the week, we're thinking about what we're here for and what we need to be doing. So I would really encourage that. If you have two worships on Sunday available, I'd go to both of them if I could. If you have a midweek worship service or Bible class, I'd recommend you do that also. These are really good habits that will get you, I believe, in a different mindset than perhaps you've been in all your life. Too many people allow habit to just become something that is negative. Habit can be a really good friend. You think about the things we do with habit. You brush your teeth the same way every day. You probably put your shoes and socks on in the same order. You button your shirt in the same way. These habits are things that are handy because they just kind of take over. You can do them rather mindlessly. But at the same time, habit can be something that's very negative. We've talked about the bad habits and the addictions already, so we won't get into that. But what I mean is we can just mindlessly go through our lives if we're not careful. Get up in the morning, have a bite to eat, go through work, come home, sit down, get on our phones or our computers or on television and just veg for the rest of the evening until we're tired and then go to bed. Well, these are mindless habits, and yet they have a way of taking over our lives. My encouragement to you is to take control of your life again. And as you're doing that, to make sure that you're yielding control to the master of your life, to God and to Christ. And if you'll do that, and if you will try to accumulate habits that are positive, that will add to your service to God, you're going to find that your life is pretty pleasant. And just think about what your day will be like if you do start acquiring good habits. You wake up, you're grateful for the day, you express that gratitude to God. Maybe there's something big that you need to do that day, and you can ask Him for help that you're going to need in that big task that you have. And then you can sit down and you can read from His Word things that He wants you to know. As a parent, there are just certain things that you want your kids to know, aren't there? Your grandkids to know. As a friend, as a spouse, there are things that you want those who are closest to you to know. And you would love the opportunity to communicate those things to them. Well, God's already done that. He's put it down in His Word. And each day we can open up anew that communication that He has for us. And now you are in line and in tune with the Creator of the universe. Now you're ready for your day. And again, worshiping with the church on a regular basis, you get together with like-minded people who are happy to see you. If you find yourself worshiping with a group of strangers or worshiping with a group that just does not seem to have joy in life, I'd recommend that you re-examine what the Word says about the true church and then find the church that's described in the Bible. Because the church is the people, and the people who are part of God's church and Christ's church are going to be filled with joy and compassion. They're going to be something that are just going to be a pleasure to be around. So find that. But again, your life becomes different. You have a different focus because perhaps for the first time in your life, you have acquired intentional habits that are good. And then there are the physical habits that are good. If you're going to school, you just get in the habit of looking over the notes to your class after the class is over. You don't have to spend more than 5 minutes doing this on most days, but it kind of refreshes your mind as far as what you've been doing. You do the homework assignments and you keep up with them. If you've got a big assignment, you get started on it early. That way you've got time to think and to plan. These are good habits. If you've got a job, you get to your job on time or a little bit early. You're interested in what you do. If you're not, find another job if you can. But if you are interested in what you do, then savor what you get to do. I've had a number of jobs other than preaching that I've really enjoyed. I really enjoyed preaching, mind you, but I worked at Kentucky Fried Chicken for 5 years just as a cook and a shift supervisor. And I really liked that. I knew what I was doing. I hope I was good at what I was doing, and I enjoyed the people. And so going into work was a pleasure. And then there was a paycheck at the end of that week. When I got out of college and I became a real estate appraiser, it was fascinating work to me, and I enjoyed doing it. I enjoyed trying to find just the right value, the correct value from the market for each property. And I tried to be diligent in that. And so be diligent in your work. Pray to God for help as you go through your work day. Thank Him for the things you're enjoying and ask Him for help with the things that you're struggling with. These are great habits. So the physical habits obviously get kind of combined with the spiritual, don't they? Because you're trying to do the best physical job you can. What is it that the Scripture says? Whatever you do, whether in work or deed, do all in the name of the Lord. Another, work as if you're working for the Lord. These things change your mindset, and they give you a habit of excellence. And people will notice that, they will appreciate that, and they will reward that. Again, if they don't, find yourself an employment or a self-employment where you'll have that. But again, these habits are excellent. If you find yourself eating too much junk food, get you a habit of starting to eat a little healthier. If you like fruit, substitute some of the sugary things you have for fruit. Now, I love chocolate. I'm not planning on giving it up, but I can cut back on some of the sweet things that I eat. I've actually had to cut out sugar completely, but there are sugar substitutes if I take them in moderation. I enjoy a nice cup of coffee a few times a day, and I enjoy that. I realize it's got caffeine in it, but I try not to do it to excess. But these are things that are habits that I believe can help you to not overeat and not be involved with other destructive habits that maybe you've just been trying to give up for a number of years. But the point is, if we can start trying to change our habits from bad to good, if once we've gotten rid of a bad habit, we don't just leave a void in our life, but we fill it with a good habit, I think you're going to find out that life is pretty good. I believe you're going to become a more appreciative servant of God. And I also believe that you're going to try and help other people to find the joy of having good habits. You can do it without being a bore and telling them how they need your habits and need to break theirs. I'm not talking about that. But you can be a good example. And some people will notice that, and they'll want to know what you're doing and why you're doing it. Bad habits are things we definitely need to get rid of, but have you thought about how important it is to acquire good habits to go along with the service that you have to God? It will enhance your life, it will give you greater joy and satisfaction, and I believe it will help you to appreciate this beautiful world that God's given us to live in. Acquire good habits, and it'll change your life. Appreciate your tuning in today. We'll see you next time.